Welcome to the Anna Aidoo Show, the show that aims to inspire you, encourage you, and get you to be the best that you can be. Today, I'm with one of the people in this town who is very active in the community, in our lives in Canada, helping us all build a better Canada, helping us all build a better tomorrow. It's none other than MPP Mario Sergio, MPP of York West. Welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here, Anna. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you again and again, because I've seen you at several community events, and I have to say that you, as well as others such as Judith Grow, so many other people inspire me to be involved in community, because I believe when we're involved in community, it helps, we learn from each other, and we're not so far apart from each other. So welcome to the show. The show is all about inspiration, talking about positive stories, people who impact the lives of Canadians from all over the world. And so I'm not going to tell your story, but if you can give us, because you were telling me a bit about how you started, and I think people need to hear it so that wherever they are, they know they don't have to wait to get into the game. So if you can please tell us about your beginning in politics and community.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I think community involvement is key in any profession, if you will. If you want to succeed in any profession, you have to be involved as well.
Right.
So the community has to get to know who you are, what you're doing, what you're made of, what do you intend to do for the community and for yourself. And I have to say that I go back in 1978 when I started my political career, if you will.
Wow.
At the municipal level. At the time, we used to have this wonderful city called the City of North York, okay. Which we all remember, and people today say those were the good old days.
Yes.
Because now we look at the City of Toronto as it has been amalgamated,
right.
And it's totally a different city.
Right.
So I have come a long way. I stayed locally at the municipal level for 18 years. With Mayor Mel, which we all know.
Right.
And then in 95, with the amalgamation, I decided to go provincially. In 95, I had a choice either to go provincially or remain municipally with the amalgamated city of Toronto. And I've stayed provincially since 1995.
Wow.
But the intent didn't change, doesn't change.
Right.
I still represent the same community, the same people,
okay.
Different issues, if you will.
Right.
But at the same time, the same people come to you with all kinds of issues. Mm-hmm. And again, as a community man, you have to be, or community representative, you have to be ready to welcome, to listen, to help anyone that comes to you or walks through the office.
Wow.
And I have been blessed, I have to say,
right.
That I had a wonderful constituency, mm-hmm. and I'm still here, and I still enjoy it, and I still welcome people on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I love it when I see you at community functions and you're interacting with people, and because sometimes, some people think, oh, politicians, they're out there. Like, we have an impression of politicians being up here and the community members being down here. So what do you think can be done to bridge that gap? Because for me, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here is to bring a little more closeness,
yes.
from the communities, a little more understanding for people to know that we can knock on your door and you will be there to listen to us and things like that. So what do you think builds a better community? What do you think builds a community where we feel like we're involved with our politicians, that we can all be part of the decision making, that we can all help build a better Canada for today and for tomorrow?
Yes. Let me say, first of all, Anna, that we enjoy this wonderful, colorful community that we have,
right.
From all over the world. And
mm-hmm.
this is what makes our community so wonderful, so great. From some of the community that we represent, mm-hmm. including my own, I have Italian roots, they can't believe it, how free, spontaneous we are.
Yes.
We drive our own car. We go to McDonald's. We go to Tim Horton on our own.
Right.
We don't have staff, 2, 3 people that drives us, goes and do shopping for us. None of this. We are so approachable that people, when they see that, really? You do this by yourself? You go and do this? We do. And sometimes what we miss, it's that people tend to stay away because they think we are so unapproachable.
Right.
And the opposite, it's totally true.
Right.
And I drove here by myself, I walk by myself, I go everywhere by myself.
Right.
So, and we go to events.
This is it.
Our time is very much taken by a variety of events, especially in summertime, weekends especially. And we like to be with the community. I think this is where we get a real feel of what goes on in the community, the needs of the community. We speak to people, and people should not be afraid. One of the most important things that I tell people in the community, wherever I go, my office is open. You don't need to make an appointment. Just call, just come. We are there. When Parliament is in session, we spend 4 days at Queen's Park in Parliament because Parliament is in session. And then I save Friday morning usually to see anyone that says, no, I want to speak to Mario. I want to come in and see Mario.
The man himself.
And often my staff has a hard time to say, is this a provincial issue or it doesn't matter. I want to see Mario. And my staff says, well, come on in. At 9:15, 9:10, 10 o'clock. Every 10 minutes we make appointments.
Okay.
And sometimes I have 15, 20 people waiting in the office, which is wonderful because I can see, while I'm speaking to someone, I can see how they interact within my own office.
Right.
And it's a wonderful feeling because I can see the local chit-chat that goes on. And I do that. And then whatever issue they bring to the table, it may be immigration that it's federal, or it may be about the high fence or the dog barking or the broken sidewalk, which is municipal. But I still see people.
You still see people.
So people should use us as the conduit, if you will, between themselves and the government. This is who we are. We are the liaison. And I mean, there are programs, provincial, federal, municipal, and people should at least make that phone call and say, I want to find out who is responsible. I call Mario's office, and often we do. People say, what do I do about this? And we give them direction. You can come at our office if you will, but you should go and see the MP, or you should call the local council. And we give them the number, we give them the information, and people don't have to be afraid to approach us. We are at the service of the people. That's who we are.
Beautiful.
So for all the people that are listening, Anna, I have to thank you for putting on this on, but we are here to serve the people.
Thank you so much. So what encouraged you to go into politics? Because, you know, for some of us, people will go, Anna, why don't you go and be a politician? I'm like, no. You know, so because it's scary. Sometimes I look at some of the issues you have to deal with as MPs, as MPPs. You say this and people turn it to that and this and that. What encouraged you to walk into this thing that a lot of people seem to be afraid of? And what has made you stay with it? Because you've been in it for a long time.
Yes.
So what encourages you to stay in it? Because I think some of us, the very first noise, and we're going to run away. So
I'll try and keep it short, but it's fun. The community, it's how it happened. And I've been involved in a community that we started, when I moved in that particular area back in 1965, we didn't have a church. So, and then a year or so later, 8 o'clock in the evening, you know, a priest knocks on the door, and all dressed in black, and my wife said, oh, my goodness, there is somebody dressed in black, you better go and enter the door. So I go and enter the door, and he says, I'm Father Orestes Ibarra. I was sent to your house because I have to start a new parish in this area. So that's how my community work started. He came in. We offered him a drink and some food because it was late in the evening. We started to talk, and that's how the community evolved. So then we built a church. I worked in the community. I was anointing the community and St. Vincent de Paul and local organizations. And then in 1978, we moved in, early in 78, we moved into this new little subdivision in the area. And there was a sidewalk unfinished.
Okay.
And we were all a young family with young kids.
Right.
And we were all outside, and one of the ladies says, I wonder when they're going to finish this subdivision, this driveway. I have to walk on the road, and it's not nice, and it's not safe. And so the other lady said, well, maybe you should speak to Mario. He's always involved in the community. Maybe he can do something about it.
Okay.
And the lady said, yeah, Mario, why don't you do something about it and get this sidewalk done? So I said, okay. So I called the city. Fortunately, the next morning, the public works people come and finish the sidewalk.
From the phone call.
So the evening, I find 5, 6 people on my doorsteps. And I say, hey, hello, how we doing? That was common in those days as a neighborhood.
Yes.
And they says, well, tonight we want to see you. We have to talk about you running for councilor. I say, yeah, sure. You're running my campaign and I will run as councilors. Okay. So they left. The next evening, 9 o'clock, on my door, my wife says, Ralph is here, John is here, and I forgot the other guy's name now. So they are here. So I said, let him in. So they come in and say, hey, you guys, what's up? Well, we are here. We have to plan the campaign. I said, what campaign? So I said, come on, guy, you can't be serious. No, you promised that if we run your campaign, you're going to run. I said, you can't be serious. You know, it was difficult because I was in real estate. I had my own brokerage. I was doing well. In those days, I don't know if it was good money or not, but I was making, you know, the 40 to 50,000, depending.
You were
okay.
Then.
I was okay. Not knowing anything, I said, okay, then if you want to do that, I'll do it. So they ran the campaign. We did the full word door-to-door twice, and we won.
Shocking.
And I'll tell you, it was an eye-opener, because at the time, the pay was $16,140. And for me, that was a full-time job.
Yes.
Because then I was flooded. And you can imagine, you know, people come from all over the place. And my wife says, what did you do?
What did you
know, I
do?
said, oh, well, you know, I said, things will get better. So what keeps you in, Anna, you're asking the question, what keeps you in, you know, politics is like a drug.
It's like a drug.
Once in it, you never leave.
You never leave because you're making a difference.
You're making a difference. People want you. If you're doing a good job, you know, people welcome you wherever you go. And money was never something that crossed my mind.
Wow.
And then get reelected. And so this is where we are today.
Well, I love it.
I've been blessed.
I love it.
And everyone should try it. Everyone should give it a try.
Okay, everyone try it. This is from MPP Mario Sergio, enjoying himself since he started. And we'll be right back with some more conversation with him. See you soon. right. So welcome back. We're here with MPP Mario Sergio, and he's from York West. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show and to speak with you is because, one, I know you're a community person. I know you make the effort to be in the community. And then I've also found myself in a position where people in the community are always talking to me about their problems, and I would say, go and knock on your MP's office. Go and ask them. I know one of our MPs was very, very helpful with our family when we first came here. We were dealing with immigration, and we would call and they would give us stories and this and that. So we went to his office. I think I saw a show on TV, and they were talking about the things they do for community. So we decided to go.
Correct.
And in no time, the problem was solved. It was just a little thing that was holding things up, but somehow we were not getting the information.
The proper information.
The proper information. Yes. We went to his office, and within a very short time, the problem was solved for us. Excellent. And so when people come to me in the community and they talk about their issues, I tell them, go to your MP, go and knock on their door. Yes. That's what they're there for. But I find that a lot of times, people are not willing. I don't know if they're not willing or if they're scared of, coming. So just like I saw on a show before, what are some of the things that your office does for people in the community? Some of the ways in which your office helps people in the community.
As I said before, people should not be afraid to approach their elected representative.
Right.
We are here to help. With provincial issues, let's say. It can be health issues, can be employment, can be OSAP, can be a workers' compensation board. But at least, unless the good Lord said, you knock and we'll answer. Open. Well, yeah. So unless you pick up that phone or you go through the trouble of driving yourself to the office, they will not throw you out. Go and say, I have a question, or I have this problem. I wonder if I can have some information, or if you can help.
Right.
At least make that effort. Mm-hmm. And the door is open to everybody. Should be no fear whatsoever, because we are there.
Right.
I mean, we are elected people. Mm-hmm. And we come to you every 4 years or whenever, knocking on the door and say, we'd like to have your support.
Right.
So, and now, once we elect that Mario or who, we expect that he gives us the information we require.
Right.
And as I said, if it is not within our own jurisdiction, at least myself, the staff, it's well familiar, experienced, knowledgeable, where to go, where to address the problem and say, okay, we can make a phone call for you while we give you the information where you have to go.
Right.
Depending on the nature, we may call the MP and say, we are sending Mr. Smith, if you are available, if the office is open, and they have a particular problem which is a federal issue.
Right.
And we give them a note and they go. And so people should not be afraid.
Right. So we have MPs and we have MPPs.
Yes.
Right. So what is the difference? What is the difference between the two? What type of work do the MPs do? And what type of work do the MPPs do? So let's say a person like me, I have a problem, and somebody says, go see your MP, go see your MPP. How will I know what the difference is and where I know that whichever office I go to, somebody will direct me to the right place.
Okay.
But for somebody who doesn't know, because I find that many people, I don't know what it is, but many people are just not, like, it's like, can you just do it for me? You know?
This is a good question you're posing, Anna, because if you were to keep interested in the community and keep an ear and an eye open, say, I want to know what's going on in my community as a resident, okay? As a taxpayer, okay?
Right.
As a tenant, as a young person, as a student, say, I want to know who my MPP is. I want to know who my NP is. I want to know who my counselor is. I want to know who my trustee is. So when I have a problem, I know where to go. I know who to call.
Right.
So this is very, very important. As Anna, a person that has aspiration of running for an office, either as a trustee, councilor, MPP, and you have to know what the issues are, where to go.
Right.
The more you know those issues, the better acquainted you are, either where to go or solving the problem. You're better acquainted and say, this guy's not doing anything here in the community. All these problems, they are provincial problems. You know, I cannot get my driver's license because I want to go to his office. And let him sort out why this problem persists. Or it can be a hospital issues with the local hospital, that you know where to go. If you come to me and say, I have a problem bringing my sister from Germany or Uganda, whatever, Ghana, here. So why are you having a problem? Well, maybe there are a problem. Yeah? It's a federal issue. I don't think I'm too qualified to say the number of issues around that particular area. But then the NP, which is federal, they deal with immigration, would be in a better position to guide you, to advise you on that very particular issue. And people are afraid even to say, the fence is broken, where do I go? I have a dispute with the neighbor. Water is coming into my area now because the neighbor has raised the height of his yard. And it's a problem between neighbors. So there are inspectors. We call the property standard. We call the bylaw people. They can go, negotiate, speak to the people. They may have to re-alter the grading, let's say, instead of you living with a problem.
Instead of having stress and all that.
That's right.
So would you say you find in your experience that people don't use government enough? We sit back and we complain because we don't understand what is going on, instead of actually going to sit down with such a person such as yourself to explain the problem so that we understand. Would you say that we're making a mistake by not seeking the answers from the right places, but just going by tabloid and TV and all that?
It is a mistake. And yes, the majority of people don't do anything about it. They don't know any better, if you will, what to do and where to go. And the problem lies, I believe, in the fact that if you don't need anything, you don't do anything. You don't learn, you don't see, you don't talk, you don't hear, and you should. For the time when you're gonna need some assistance from whoever. So therefore, if you don't get involved, when the time comes that you need something or you have a problem, you don't know what to do.
You don't know anything.
You're lost. So you may be living with the problem, or you may be doing or saying the right thing or going to the wrong place. Instead, if you keep involved with the community, usually there is a ratepayers organizations. You know, that may keep an eye on local issues. Okay? And you get involved. You know, you work with other community people, with local ratepayers, community groups, and they all deal with local issues. And that group works with the MP, with the MPP, or the local councilor. So therefore, when you have a problem, you know the nature and you know where to go.
And you know exactly where to go. So knowledge is the key of us understanding the Canada that we live in. Knowledge is the key to passing on the right thing to our children. Because a lot of times I find that in the community, when I'm talking to people, because so many people in the immigrant community have come from cultures that don't allow them to speak up and things like that, we're afraid to speak up. And my thing is, when we do that, our children are going to suffer because we're not passing down the information to them. So I think we transfer a little bit of that fear into our children. Would you agree with me?
And it's a good point. Let me say, I came here in 1958 as a young person. And I was part of a community that needed all kinds of assistance. And because of that experience, I can see all the various other groups that came either more or less along the same time or afterwards. That is why I have this big passion to help those groups, that people that came afterwards, because they are going through the difficulties that I went through in a new country for assistance, And sometimes it's very traumatic.
It's very, very traumatic.
Not to know what to do, where to go. And it is something good that you're saying, because if you participate in what goes on in the community, if you know, you speak in the house, at the dinner table, with the kids, with the family, and it becomes a habit, if you will.
Right.
Not only watching the news on TV and say, oh, something else again on the TV, or if you need the newspaper, you have to learn from the newspaper. But if you participate in the community,
right,
it's not only helping you and your family, your kid, it helps the community as a whole.
It helps the community as a whole.
As a whole.
And once we become knowledgeable, we build a better country, which reflects well, not only on us here in Canada, but around the world. I mean, we can boast as Canadians that we live in one of the best countries in the world. Yes. I mean, what more can we say? Our health care is not as bad as other places. We complain, but we're definitely lucky to be in this country that is giving us so much good. So again, it goes back to what we're saying: learn, be involved in community. The doors are open for our politicians for us to visit them. Keep that in mind, and we'll be right back. Thank you. So welcome back. We're here with MPP Mario Sergio. I wish we had a whole 24 hours so that we can get all the knowledge and wisdom from this gentleman. But I know his doors are open. And so bring in your questions, ask whatever you want, and I will do my best to bring the answers to the community. So
if that's the case, Anna, I will be very disappointed if you don't invite me to come back and talk more about other issues.
Oh, I will. Okay. I will. Believe me.
Okay.
I'm very passionate about the community, and sometimes when I see some of the people in the community suffer with simple issues, it really breaks my heart. Because sometimes I know the answer is simple, if we can just get up and go. But obviously not everybody understands that. Not everybody has the courage to get up and go and knock on the door and ask the question. Some people are just downright afraid. So on that note, what are some of the programs in the community or with the government to help women, students? You know, these days we have all these gun violence going on in the city, which is heartbreaking. So what are some of the programs that people can have access to help women, to help young mothers, to help boys who are on the street and have no hope? You know, what are some of the programs?
Some of the things that we do to stay in touch with the community and help the community with problems as well. You were talking before that people are afraid to come out, stuff like maybe there is a bit of cultural fear, if you will, because where we came from, this was not our custom. Okay, no. but here in Canada, the government wants you to come out. We invest money. We invest money in programs. We give money to organizations for the people to come out.
Yes.
You know, we go into the people. We have a number of programs in all areas, to the point that if you, as the Ghanaian community, and say, we're having a get-together, and we want to talk about crime or health issues or about women's issue, not only we come as members, but we can get people from the ministry, the professional people, the bureaucrats, if you will, that run those programs, that come to your place, to your community center, or to the meeting place, and speak to the people. What's available for you, what to do, how to get those programs, those benefits. Because the government, all governments say, we have these programs in place for you, but if you don't come and get it, you won't get it. You won't get it. We have a number of, let's talk about seniors for a moment. And there are 3-4 good programs for seniors of tax rebates, or grants for seniors, whatever. If you don't ask, if you don't apply, you won't get them.
You won't get it.
You won't get them, but they are there. Government cannot come on your door and say,
come and get it.
Did you apply? Here is the check. You know how many people, they say, they come to the office with a check of $250 and say, what is this for? Why? Do I have to give it back to the government if I cash it? And we say, no, this was the, what do we call it, HST debate or some rebate. It's for senior, that's yours. This is the government, it's a rebate that entitles you over 65 or within a particular income bracket. It's for you. It's for you. Oh.
Really?
When do I get the next one? Now?
Because now we know.
They want to get the next one. So we say, no, this is once a year. But there is this other program, that you should apply, and you will receive, if you are a homeowner in your seniors and you're within a certain income bracket, there is a property tax rebate worth some $650 a year. So what do? When it's time to do your income tax filing, you say to whoever, the accountant or whoever does your, and say, make sure that you deduct the $650 property tax rebate. A lot of people don't do that.
Don't do that because they don't know.
Yeah, and if you don't, the government will not take that into consideration. You lost. You lost.
And then besides that, I think if people don't use it, then eventually it'll be scrapped. No, because people are not using it.
No? Some won't use it. There is one program now, for example, that for seniors that want to live in their homes, but they need to make some adjustments, some modification, and it can be a staircase, it even can be an elevator, it can be adjusting maybe even the handles of doors, or
to make life easier.
To make life easy. They may have to widen, let's say, the door if you happen to be on a wheelchair in the house, stuff like that, or bathroom or whatever. There are grants that you don't have to repay. You don't have to repay back that money. So if you can spend up to $10,000, you get $1,500 back.
Wow.
There are grants federally and provincially to renovate, even to get a new roof, a furnace, new windows, whatever. And that money, you don't have to repay it back.
And where do you go to? The government website?
You can go to the website. It's called a RASP program, and we have application in our office.
Okay, so application can be picked up in the offices.
In the office.
And what are some of the programs in place for students? Because a lot of students now are complaining about student debt and this and that. I'm finding that a lot of people just from sheer fear, will not go to university or will not go to college because they are afraid of the debt that it comes with.
This is a problem, and that is why I am starting a forum soon, I hope, where I will be working with other community groups to go out and get the parents and the young people there and say, this is what's available for you.
Okay.
We have schools for trades, for example, because our government is saying, you will stay in school until you are 18. We'll force you to be in school.
To be in school.
If you're saying that, as a parent, let's say, I can't afford to have my child keep on going to school, we will guarantee, we will pay tuition fee for that kid, for that boy or girl, to be in school. If those kids, they're not meant to be in school, and they say, I don't want to be a doctor, an engineer, a professor, a teacher, whatever, then we'll say, then you go to
the trade
schools.
Okay.
The government will pay so much a day for you to be in a trade school while you learn a trade or a skill, and we still pay you.
I think you and I should do a show just on this, because I'm very involved with the youth, and I find that sometimes somebody's a young mother, somebody's a boy who messed up at home, you know. Sometimes, you know how it is when you're young and you get a little too hot-headed, and now you're out, you know, and I find that a lot of them feel so bad that they feel like the end is in sight.
Well, this is that problem. If the mother, let's say, or the father would say to the youngster, if you really want to do that, let's find out what's available for you out there. Sometimes it's not even the fault of the youngster.
Right.
Because they may be listening to other kids in the schoolyard or in the hallway of the school, and the parents should be taking the lead and say, I am not going to let you go loose.
Right.
I want to find out what's there for you because I want you to finish school or learn a trade, and there is absolutely no reason for one youngster
there isn't
to be let loose when there are so many opportunities.
Programs in
opportunities.
Place. Yes.
For youngsters that go to college or university, I think was introduced last year, a 30% reduction in tuition fees.
30%.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, okay? And that is, so the kids can go to school, can graduate without a big burden on their shoulders.
Right.
On their shoulders.
Yes, because I'm finding that the tuition is a headache for families who are already don't have enough income, and you want your kid to succeed.
Absolutely.
And then what I'm finding is that just the notion of tuition sometimes just stops the kids.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, get involved and say, find out and say, even though I may have a little bit of difficult time, what's there to help me? What's there to help me? And there are ways of helping. And there is a program that says if you want to go to school and if you can't afford, we will keep you in school as long as you make the effort to go to school. To go to school.
Yes.
We have started now from the bottom, grade 4, 5, and 6. We are instituting the full-day kindergarten.
Right.
So that we give young parents with children the opportunity to have the kids at a safe place while both of them can go to work.
Right.
Can go to work. It means a saving for each child, for a young couple, of some $6,500 a year per child.
Right.
Per child.
In child
So
care.
we give them a good start. A good start. Why are we doing this? And this brings us into the economics now.
Right.
It is important that we have a skilled workforce, that we have the best workforce. We have a lot of pressure coming from outside countries, from Europe, from Asia, Japan, China, whatever. It's hard to compete with those nations.
Yes.
So we have to get our students to be the best they can be.
Yes.
So that is why we're saying it's a sacrifice to give a student, let's say, a 30% reduction in tuition fees, but we want you to go to school and learn and be the best so you can compete in tomorrow's new economy. The world is shrinking, it's getting smaller.
Right.
We're getting a lot of pressures. And unless you get a good job, you get that piece of paper that says, I am someone in this particular field, you're going to have a hard time finding a good job.
You're going to have a hard time finding a good job. There's going to be a lot of stress at home. Because when there's no money, there's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
And then you're going to bring babies into the world. You can't provide for them the way. So it becomes a generational thing. Mother is suffering, father is suffering, children are suffering. Then there's divorce, which is not very helpful to anybody as we go on in life. I'm very, very happy that we're doing this, and we'll have you back again, because I think I just scratched the surface.
Yes.
But there are so many young people out there who need the help.
Yes.
There are so many young families who need the help, and I think the more information we can give them, the better it is for all of us. So again, it's the Anna Aidoo Show. We're all about educating you, inspiring you, getting you involved in building a better society, not only a better Canada, but when we build well, the world is a better place for us. So once again, we've been with MPP Mario Sergio, a seasoned politician who loves community. I meet him several times, and I'm privileged to have had this opportunity to sit down with him. Like I said, we've only scratched the surface. And he's told me that he wants to come back. So guess what, people? We're going to be chatting for a long time, for the rest of his career as a politician. So thank you very much, sir, for joining me on the Anna Aidoo Show. We're all about inspiration. And thank you all. We'll see you soon, and be encouraged, be inspired. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is beautiful.
It's a pleasure.
It is. So now I'm going to...